From the City of Angels, you're listening to the James Salazar Media Podcast. On today's episode, we'll talk about Donald Trump and collusion, we'll talk about futurism, and we'll talk about an article that says you should prepare to fail. So let me strike the music, and I'll meet you on the other side.
Engage.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Say hello to my little friend.
I am the Father.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
What's up, savages? And welcome to the James Salazar Media Podcast. I am your host, James Salazar. Here is where you get your daily dose of futurism, pop culture, and politics. I am your host. I think I said that before. James Salazar, a.k.a. the media. What's up, savages? I think I said that again. Let's redo this.
Engage.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Say hello to my little friend.
I am the Father.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
What's up, savages? And welcome to the James Salazar Media Podcast. What the fuck? There we go. Hold on.
Engage.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Say hello to my little friend.
I am the Father.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
What's up, savages? And welcome to the James Salazar Media Podcast, where you get your weekly dose, because I'm not doing it every day. Take 4.
Engage.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Say hello to my little friend.
I am the Father.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
I'm sorry for all these takes, but practice makes perfect. What's up, savages? And welcome to the James Salazar Media Podcast, where you get your weekly dose of futurism, pop culture, and politics. I am your host, James Salazar, a.k.a. the media. On today's episode, we will be talking about some collusion and how the Democrats are left with our dick in their hand. We're going to talk about some article that says successful people prepare to fail. And I'm like, is that true? Let's deconstruct that idea. Deconstruct, not deconstruct, deconstruct. And we might get into some futurism if time permits. So I hope everyone's doing okay. I hope everyone enjoyed their spring break. I know I did. I went down to Mexico, ate some peasant food. It tasted wonderful. Delicioso. Delicioso. Then went to Vegas, ate expensive food. Also delicious. And gambled and lost. Won a little bit, but mostly lost. But I take that into account. And I expect to lose. You know, that's very interesting that I'm bringing this up, and I'm saying that right now because we're going to go over an article where I read, and it was like the 35 things successful people do. And one of them is that they prepare to fail. They're ready when they do fail. They have a plan. And I guess I expect to fail when it comes to gambling or have a healthy idea or a healthy expectation of what should come about when you're gambling with money, especially on roulette and craps, which have the worst odds. But I enjoy it. And when I win, I'm pleasantly surprised. That's either here nor there. I tried my signature system. It didn't work out, so I guess it's signature to me that it sucks. Or sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. What are you going to do? I tried it. Get off me. I'm sticking with it. Basically, what I do, I cut the board in half, match all the numbers, and makes it a 50-50 chance without doing 50-50. Because black or white, it's 50-50. But you only get paid the same amount upon that bet, where I place about 10 bets that cover about 20 spaces, 20 numbers, and it usually kicks back, because I'm splitting, about $17. And the way I upgrade or push beyond that is that I end up putting another $2 on it being split between 20 numbers, 10 bets. So it ultimately comes out to, even more money. But it didn't work out this way. So I'm boring the hell out of you with this Las Vegas system. It didn't work out for me. So why do you give a flying F? So Democrats. Oh, shoot. They put all their eggs in that basket that he was colluding with Russia. The president of the United States is who I'm talking about. Man. What are they going to do now? Now they got to come up with good ideas. And most of their ideas are not very good because they're based on emotionalism and not on practicality and what works. And usually they got the people all riled up by now so they can make that emotional argument and get some gains from that. But no, they put all their money in the basket that they really thought that Donald Trump did not win the election fair and square, but it was stolen. They don't acknowledge the culture shift. And that's pretty sad for them. The culture shift is that identity politics, people are tired of it. People are tired of hearing every time someone disagrees with them that they call them racist or sexist or bigoted. And these people have the inability to meet you in the arena of ideas, so they make at him what are they called? Ad hominem attacks, whatever. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. But they're making attacks on your character, because if they can marginalize you before you even start by disputing. God, I'm looking for words today. By talking down about your character, and once you start making those logical conclusions and answers to their ridiculous and idiotic points, based on emotionalism, based on relativity of truth, that truth is relative, it's not absolute. The idea that you may like peanut butter and jelly, but I don't, is true for you. That you like peanut butter, but it ain't true for me. They take that kind of concept and they add it to absolute truth. So if the economy is doing great and black employment is up and Hispanic employment is up and Asian employment has always been up and white people employment has gone up, they don't acknowledge it. They don't have to, because they might say that might be true for you as a conservative, but for me as a liberal, I think it's a lie, or it's not a truth that I accept as valid. And you think I am kidding, but I'm not kidding. It's a sorry state we have in our society, people, that when truth is no longer valued, I mean, let's look at it really objectively. These people believe that there are truths that are too hurtful to say. That you should omit the truth. You shouldn't lie to people because of how that makes people feel. Now, I understand the idea of if you can't solve the problem, and there is no way to solve the problem, and just to bring up something to make people feel bad, well, yeah, it's probably not the wisest thing to do. But if there's logical answers, and there's paths to change, and they're saying, no, don't say those truths about them and show them a different way. No. Because of the idea or the possibility that you could offend them, you should omit it. Called political correctness. But I believe there's no truth. I believe in the long run, the truth shall set you free. We got a lot of people who are dependent upon politicians to tell them the truth, and they're omitting it because they think it's too hurtful to say. And people's lives don't change because they depend upon these people for their means of survival. They depend upon this government to dole out resources instead of, I know this is super cliche, but you can give a man a fish and he will eat for that day. But if you teach him how to fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life. And in our society today, there is a political party that their power structure is all wrapped up in the idea that they should give fish to people. That people should depend upon them for that fish. Knowing all too well that if you teach that person to fish, he will make his own filet of fish with tartar sauce. And I love that tartar sauce, That tartar sauce is good. That tartar sauce is sexy. I digress. Now, what I'm trying to say to you here is this. That there's a political party. That their power structure is all put together based on that they should have people. That they should be the ones giving the fish to the people as opposed to the people fishing themselves. And that's pretty much the difference between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. See, the Republican Party, granted, has nothing for you. It believes in personal responsibility and that you should make your own way in life. The other party believes that no, you need help. You need to step up. But unfortunately, every one of those steps that comes with a condition. It comes with strings attached. And they're not seen, but they're felt through your life. They're felt through your families that are dependent upon welfare for years and years. Let me tell you, this is something I ask people when I'm about to coach them. I ask them, do you believe that this system's rigged against you? And most often they say, yes, of course it is. It is rigged against them, and therefore, and that's the reason why I can't succeed. And I will say to them, no. You have been rigged against the system. See, this system is a pretty easy system. You just need to go to work, graduate high school, and you won't be poor in this country. Now, I'm not going to guarantee you that you're going to be rich. I mean, if the American dream said everybody should be rich, then that is false advertisement. But the American dream is that whatever you work hard at, whatever you put your hand to and you work hard to can be yours. And that the fruits of your labors will be yours. And that if you save your money and you're smart with your money and you work hard, you can own property. You can put your kids through school. Even with a job that doesn't pay very well. If you teach people how to be financially literate, they will know that compound interest and saving over time can put them in retirement, pay their kids through school. And the idea that in America, if you're not making enough, you can get another job. You might say, well, that's cruel. No, it's not cruel, because for time immemorial, people were stuck in the same job that their grandfather had and their father had. And no matter what the pay was, that's what they did. That's all they knew. In America, you can make less or you can make more. You can determine your own pursuit of happiness. So I said all that to say this. They put all their potatoes in one basket. That Donald Trump was colluding. They didn't believe that he won fair and square. And this is why they act the way they do, because they think he's illegitimate. But now they have to come to grips that identity politics and a bad economy and just frustration at politicians in general got him elected. He's not a politician. He's a pretty crappy politician. But at the very end, he might be a crappy politician, but a great president. Not a perfect president. Very opinionated, foul-mouthed, thin-skinned president. But at the end of the day, he accomplishes what he sets out to do. And that's impressive. It's damn impressive. Let me tell you something. Do you remember when you couldn't say all lives matter? You had to say Black Lives Matter. If you didn't say Black Lives Matter over your own life, your own race, you were a racist. You couldn't say your own life matters. Whoever thought that was a good idea should be taken out and shot. It was so stupid that people had to vote against their own self-interest. These people who are saying that my life doesn't matter. That's a special kind of stupid. That person should be Wicker Man. You ever seen what's that guy? Oh no, not the bees! Not the bees! Nicolas Cage. The person who thought that was a good idea should be Wicker Man, like Nicolas Cage, and should put a helmet over his head and put bees inside. It was that stupid. That person should have got fired. That person who thought that was a good idea. Okay, I think I'm being aggressive. Aggressive. It was stupid. No wonder they lost. You know, you have to maintain the right to say that my life and my family's lives matter over some stranger's life. If you think that's racist, then we don't want to live in that world. And like I said, this is a special kind of stupid that it deserves no more comment. Oh, man. What are you going to do? So, now they got to come up with some good ideas, and they've been failing. They got this, post-birth abortion should be legal and shouldn't be hindered. Do they really think the American people think that women should have a right or a say in the life of a baby that's already been born? That they should have the right to give the thumbs up or a thumbs down like Caesar? This baby, thumbs down. And it dies comfortably on a table. Well, that's a life. That's a citizen of America. And if you think the American people are with you on that, then once again, you're a special kind of stupid. No, I think the tide is turning on abortion. And I think it's going to be a hard sell for conservatives and libertarians to, not really libertarians, but conservatives, that the first trimester having no abortions is going to be hard to get through in this country. But we can win the fight on the third trimester, making the third trimester illegal to kill the baby. You should figure out by then whether you wanted the baby or not. And when that baby is viable as a human life, and you have a moral responsibility to it. Just because society says you no longer have a moral responsibility doesn't mean it's true. Abortion is the last form of slavery. I know this is very unpopular, but it is. The same arguments women give why they should have the say in the baby's life is the same arguments that slave owners gave why they should not be morally responsible to slaves. They thought, no, I should fuck it. I should kill it. I should work it to death. I can torture it. I have no moral responsibility because it's property, because I own it. Well, we know that to be pretty heinous. And the same argument is given by those who are for choice, that because they own it, because it's part of their body, they believe they should have no moral responsibility to it. And the fact of the matter is, they not only want to do what they want with their body, but they want to do what they want with the baby's body. And we know this because many of them still want to say what happens to that baby after it's out of its body is no longer a part of them. They still want the ability to end the baby's life. Now, granted, if that mother doesn't want that baby, we should not make her have it, make her keep it. This should go into the system and be adopted. Nor do you want a parent giving a baby to a parent who wanted to abort the baby 10 seconds before. That doesn't sound too logical. But these are not easy answers. But the fact of the matter is, that's not where the American people are. The Democrats have an extremely radical agenda. They believe we should have completely open borders. We're having 7,000 people come in a month. Almost 100,000 people since the beginning of the year are trying to come into America. And the technology is not working. There's not enough manpower. And though the wall won't completely stop them, but we know it can stop at least up to 40 to 60%. And 40 to 60% of stopping the influx of illegal immigration, if we can do that, we should do that. And let me just tell you plainly, if you haven't heard this before and hear me talking about the same thing over and over again, as long as we take in the disenfranchised and the poor of all these other countries, there will never be a revolution in those countries for change. If they can't send their problem to the United States, well, that problem is going to stay there. And they're going to have to feed them. They're going to have to clothe them. They're going to have to give them economical opportunities. And if they don't, they will be overthrown. We have prevented that from happening by having porous borders. America's values and legal system is superior, and it's time that the rest of the world adopts something similar. We're no longer going to take their problem, because they all want to come to the place where they can have a chance, where they can have economical freedom and they can push beyond their dreams. where these other places destroy and suck their dreams away, well, they're going to have to, we need to close our border and support any movement that calls for change. Personally, I believe. All right, so they have a radical agenda. They're going to have to do something. They came up with a goose egg over freaking, what is that? Collusion with Russia. So now they're playing catch up, and Donald Trump's in the lead. So I was looking at this article, and it says that highly successful people prepare for when they fail. And it was very vague. And I wanted to deconstruct this idea. My first initial reaction when I heard this was that, are you talking about a plan B? Now, there's many people who believe that you shouldn't have a plan B, because as long as you have a plan B, you will always allow yourself to fail. Other people will say to you, no, failure is a common thing. It is one of the pathways to success. And if you don't have a plan to deal with it, you could crumple and falter and learn from your mistakes. But I guess it's saying that there is a moment in time where you might see in the horizon that this might be a difficult situation and that it may not go the way you think, and you have to prepare for that. Well, I think there's wisdom in this. I think your mentality must always be positive and forward. And that when you come to failure, it's not about failing. It's not about falling. It's about getting up and going forward. About not giving up. But to prepare in your mind, set a plan that if you do fail, that's the tricky one, right? Where is that? It lies somewhere where it gives you an excuse to fail, or are you being unwise but not being realistic that failure happens? And I can only speak of my own life. There have been times where I failed and I had no plan B. And I was like, what do I do now? And I had to rebuild. It was a long rebuild. And there was times where I expected, I saw it coming in the wind, and I prepared for what was eventually going to happen. Now, if I said it wouldn't happen, I refused to let it happen, would the outcome be different? I can't say that now. But there's many times in my life today where I've said that about a situation, that this situation will not crush me. I'm old triumphs, and I did. And the ones I didn't. So where does that leave you? Where does that leave me? Where does that leave us? In all practicality, you must believe in your dreams. You must be a single-minded and focused about the task at hand. And if it doesn't go your way, you adjust. And you keep on adjusting until you get to your dream. And there'll be moments in your life where you just completely fall on your face. But falling is not the problem. Why do we fall? So we can get back up. There is no substitute for hard work. And there is no substitute for learning from failure. In fact, without failure, you cannot succeed. I often say dreams coming true are a common thing. Well, along with dreams coming true being common occurrence, so is failure. And I can only speak on this that for myself, I will proceed like I'm not going to fail. And my only recourse is when I do, is to learn from it and get back up. Now, if he's talking about this article I was reading, if he's talking about like being a prepper, and because you live in Los Angeles, and there's an earthquake, and I should have a plan B for that, well, yeah, maybe that. Or maybe I should have a plan B if the stock market tanks. Yeah, that makes sense. Or I should have a plan B with a couple of lawyers if people are trying to sue me. Yeah, that should be a plan. You should plan for those situations. So in that vein, I agree. And I think you would agree too. That's why lawyers are there. That's why there's police. That's why there's guns. That's why there's safety nets. That's why there's lifeguards. Because no one expects to drown. No one expects to get shot. But that's why we have doctors on call. Because shit happens. But this goes back to another idea, right? The one that your mother and father always tells you. Well, you better have a backup plan if this doesn't work. Right? You don't even want to hear it when they say it. Because you don't want to consider a universe where you're not fulfilling your dream. And yes, there's a risk. And I do believe people who have a backup plan don't push as hard as people who don't. In fact, when you put your eggs all in one basket, the incentive to follow through is high. Super high. So I tell you how I'm going to look at it. I have my hands in a lot of different things. But that's because I want to be a media mogul or an influencer, life coach, opera singer. I want to succeed at all of them. And all of them, they're not second. They're not plan B. They're all plan A. My plan B has always been Uber. But guess what? Robots are going to take over that shit. You better recognize that job market will be gone as long as trucking, transportation, ride share. When people get their food faster and people are not dying on the road, anymore. When the robot's taking over, that less people are dying, they're going to take the privilege of driving away. You might be able to drive in the rural areas, but they're not going to let you drive in the city anymore. You're going to have to park your car outside the city and get an Uber or take some kind of train or take some kind of monorail system into the city. They will not let these crazy-ass drivers come in and start crashing into each other. I don't know how many crashes are in Los Angeles every day, but I'm telling you, the number's high. And I think someone dies every day. At least one person dies every day on the roads of Los Angeles, which is extremely unfortunate. But once that data comes out, say goodbye-bye for you driving, commuting with your own car. You're going to have Johnny Robot take you to work in some nice electric car. And all will be good with the world. If you think that's not true, you just watch. I know we're a car culture, and but never underestimate liberal do-gooders to create laws that take away certain freedoms based on the idea that they're trying to keep you alive. And this is one that probably would be right. But most of the time, people rather be free and put themselves in danger than being controlled and kept safe. And that might change the society, but as of right now, I don't think it will. But Los Angeles, the left coast, once the data comes out, once the data is clear that people are living, and there's less crashes, less property damage because AI is driving, believe me, DMV is going to make a move. It's going to make a move against American people and their freedom to drive. You heard it here, folks. You have heard it here. Mark Zuckerberg asked the government to make new rules for the internet. It's amazing, these CEOs who took the freedom of the internet and made themselves obscenely rich now want to control it for everyone else. It's a typical liberal trait. Now that you are in power and you're an elitist, you want to control everybody else because you think you know better. And granted, he may know better in his own vacuum, but people would rather have the internet free than controlled. At least that's my opinion. The military is mounting lasers on tanks. The U.S. Army is developing tanks and drones armed with laser weapons. We have now come into the world of Star Trek and Star Wars. Nice. Sorry about my desk. It's making a lot of noise. And that's it. You know, I want to save the rest of these for another day. There's a lot of things that need to go in depth, and we're already running a little long on the podcast right now. So I saw Dumbo. It was good. It was very fun. Everyone acted great. The story, it looked amazing. Dumbo was cute as hell, even though he's the computer animation. But I definitely give it 5 potatoes. That's my rating system. Potatoes. If they can do tomatoes, I'll do potatoes. Potatoes. But no, I loved it. Definitely take your kids to go see it. You'll love it too. It is thoughtful and expect nothing less from Disney. So, my friends, if you want to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, as you know, I'm on my diet. I'm always posting what I'm eating and posting some workouts. If you want to follow my progress on that, where I am weighed on the Life podcast, and that's Life, one word, the Life, one word, no space podcast, where I weigh in every month to show where I'm at. I went on spring break. I thought I did good, and then I went on spring break, and I think I gained some of those poundages back. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. With that. Also, like I said, I'll be starting my blog, and we'll be coming up with some life coaching opportunities for you to receive life coaching, and prepare for that. And hey, if you like the podcast, please subscribe. Please give it 5 stars. If you like what I'm saying, I would greatly appreciate it. Don't be lazy. Give me 5 stars. If you think I'm worth it, give it to me. Take a second of your time. Rate that 5 stars. Give me some ratings. I would greatly appreciate it. Till then, my friends, when the storms of life come against you and you find yourself on your knees, stand tall. Hold your head up high. Take a look at that storm and say, give me your best shot. Strike the music.